This conference will now be recorded.
The May 8th Happy Trails Community Association Board of Directors meeting is now called to order. Please stand for the invocation and the pledge.
My gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you for all the people of Happy Trails. And we ask that you bless them in their journey every day, Father. Be with them and keep them healthy and strong. Bless this committee. Help this committee to always make great and wonderful decisions for all people. We thank you for your blessings and your love. All this through Jesus' name. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Short and sweet, brother.
Okay. Roll call. Jennifer Ellswick, Board President.
Present.
Cindy Evans, Vice President.
Present.
Cliff Giroux, Board Secretary.
Present.
Fred Rand, Board Treasurer.
Present.
Chuck Garvey, Director.
Present.
Brad Midkiff, Director.
Present.
And Greg Sherman, Director.
Present.
Thank you. Homeowner statement period. In person, speaker may speak for no more than 2 minutes. If attending virtually, please mute your audio. Please use the chat option for your questions. Comments should be addressed to concerns of the motion before the board takes formal action on an item under formal discussion on the table. Negative comments directed at residents, employees of the association, or board of directors will not be allowed. I just want to state that the agenda is a little bit different because there was one thing posted on here twice, so I've removed that. And we've just kind of rearranged things. We haven't added anything. We've just rearranged it to make it a little more easier and smoother for us to run the meeting.
Thank you, Darlene. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes from April 10th.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
May I have a motion to approve the financial report?
I, Fred Rand, approve the financial report. I, Fred Rand, approve the financial report 2025. March 31st, 2025.
I second.
Deanna, would you like to read?
As of March 31st, the operating cash is $1,042,363. The reserve is $3,842,129. Activities is $238,099. Clubs is $155,775. And the asset improvement is $1,299,026.
Thank you. Any questions, board? All in favor of approving the March 31st, 2025 financial statement?
Aye.
Moving along. Fred?
I, Fred Rand, move to approve the creation of a new investment subcommittee for the Financial Committee.
Second.
Fred, can you give a little bit of background on this, please?
We have three people that Bill, Powell, and I interviewed, and one of them is Amy Lee, and Amy's background is in finance, 401ks, and investments, well qualified to be on this committee. We also have Lisa Day, which she is a resident here, and a lot of people know Lisa. She was in real estate business for 42 years, owned her own company. She ran an HOA also for years, and she did investments within this HOA. So she is well qualified. Then we have Bruce Vangus, that is a financial advisor. He owns his own company, and he has full fiduciary responsibilities as an advisor. That's all he does for a living, is manages his clients and their investments.
Thank you. Our first motion is for the creation of this committee. All in favor of creating the investment subcommittee of the Finance Committee, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
My bad. First of all, does the board have any questions about the creation of the investment committee?
The only question I have and my concern is it lists that the Finance Committee shall play no role, or that they've excluded themselves with the final review, and I'm concerned about that because it is part of the Finance Committee. It's part of the, says it plays no role in the individual investments other than the policy, and in the statements, in the policy statement, it says that they're supposed to be advising it. So I think there's a contradiction between the two of not playing the role and the policy itself.
The investment committee would act as offering suggestions, if you will, to the finance committee, but the ultimate decision for anything investments would come to the board. And now I apologize, I will open it to the owners.
Good afternoon. Roberta Ernest, 712-996. Just so we have some clarification based on what has happened in the past, and we all know, especially everyone in this room, that the CC&Rs dictate that only FDIC vehicles can be used for investing. What is the purpose behind this investment committee when we've already established that the investment policy violates the CC&Rs? And that we really can't invest in anything other than FDIC, which is typically going to be CDs and money markets out of the bank. So what would be the purpose of having an investment subcommittee that we had before when our CC&Rs are dictating FDIC?
The purpose of the investment committee is to do research only, to offer to the finance committee, here's our findings that fall in the FTC lines and the amount that you can invest, so it follows the CCR. We just look for avenues and different places for investments that we can do. So in other words, we want to have a broader span of investments, and that's all we do. We don't determine it, we present it to the finance committee.
Okay, and then do we all know on the board that we have, you'll have to correct me, Brad or Darlene, is it Allianz or Alliance? Is the corporation that takes all of our funds and distributes them?
Alliance.
It is Alliance, okay, Alliance. We have the corporation Alliance that takes our funds and automatically makes sure that they're set at 250,000 in FDIC accounts.
And that's what we're going to be doing as a research committee, is find the things that we can invest up to the 250 that are insured and present it. So we're not telling them, this is what you need to do. These are our findings, which of these will work best. So whether it goes to HomeCo or it goes to the finance committee, we're just doing research.
Okay, it just seems duplicity, I guess, is because of the fact that we have a corporation or a company that already does this, and you're creating a investment committee, which we already agreed there was some problems with that when we're dictated by the CCNRs. So I would ask you to rethink that, because there's really no reason to have an investment committee when we have a company that already does that for us. One more thing, so that I don't hit my, nothing against the people that are that you're suggesting, but I want you to reconsider something, is that there was a gentleman named Bruce, is that what I understand? I'm sure he's well-versed in investments, and I have total faith, but if I understood you, you said he has his own financial company. And would that not be a conflict of interest based on the fact of some of the things I've heard in the past with regard to investments that were done?
We would not invest anything with him. He's just bringing ideas for us to use for the finance committee.
Okay, just so you know, that is a rumor that gets around very fast, and even though it was not the truth, that is something that he could be faced. So he could be the next guy hanging out in the wind. Again, I'm going to ask you, reconsider this. There's no reason to have the investment committee when you have an assigned company that already takes the 250,000 and invests them in the CDs that are available for you to use. Thank you.
Thank you, Roberta.
Wisdom 379. I don't understand, if we can only invest in CDs, why even bother having this subcommittee to invest, to check out other things when it's only going to be CDs with FCID, whatever it is. So I don't understand it. Also, I don't understand why you would have some of these residents on here when, as far as I'm concerned, there shouldn't be. And if Bruce owns his own investment company, I don't care what you say, it is a conflict of interest. So that's just my personal opinion, and I think it needs to be reconsidered before you guys make any kind of voting on this at all.
I don't know if I told you, he is a resident here. He does live here.
It doesn't matter. He still owns an investment company. And I think that's a conflict of interest, whether he lives here or not. It's a conflict of interest, and he should not be on it. And yeah, no. And I don't see the reason for a subcommittee. We have a perfectly fine financial committee, and I think that they can do the job, because it's not going to be a hard job if they're only putting money into CDs. My personal opinion.
Hi, Angie Schmidt, Lot 37. I'm on the Finance Committee, and I think one of the things that our goal is to look into not only investments, but our insurance, our other products, just to make sure that what we're doing is most effective for the community. So I like the idea of the subcommittee. They're gonna do some investigating. I think that's a great idea. And you know, there's a lot of other places that can invest money than just one place. So I mean, I think it's good.
Any other comments from the owners?
There's a comment on the screen. Can you hear me? If all the committee is going to do is rubber stamp the finance committee, then it has no purpose other than to change the language that confines the investments to FDIC or other insured investments.
I would just like to say that I believe that the investment committee can do good things. We are only, as we all know, we are only allowed to invest into FDIC insured vehicles. That does not mean that every CD is created equal. It does not mean that every CD length is created equal. It does not mean that every CD offered is created equal. And HomeCo does manage our funds, and they do put our CDs into available vehicles with expiration dates, but that is something that they do. That is part of their responsibility as our management company. This investment subcommittee could review that information, take the time, the energy, etc., to review that information and ensure that there is not something else out there that is FDIC insured, a CD with a shorter length, a longer length from a different provider that would give us a little bit more money. We have to be particularly conscious of the fact that it must be FDIC insured, and we have to be particularly conscious of the fact that we need to earn the most money that we can on our investments.
Hey, Fred, could you do me a favor and tell us the chain of command for the subcommittee, how this works from the subcommittee on down to the final decision process?
Yes, so I will be the chair of the subcommittee. And then we have three people, Lisa Day, Amy Lee, and Bruce Vanquist. And we are also wanting to appoint Becca Paulson to be on the committee with us. And the only thing that we really are doing in this committee is research. We're not making any commitments or buying any CDs or any other type of things. We're wanting to make sure we are getting the best of the best.
And then that information goes to where?
It goes to the Finance Committee.
I think one point that's being missed here is that the first task this committee has is to take our investment policy, which is in violation of our CC&Rs, and research other investment policies for other like communities and come up with a new investment policy that is in keeping with all of our governing documents. So that's going to be the first task of this group.
Thank you, Cindy. Brad up there on the screen.
Yes.
The subcommittee would research, the subcommittee would submit their research to the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee would review it, they would create a proposal that would come to the board, and the ultimate decision would be the board's. Does that answer your question about the path?
Yes, that's what I was looking for, is the path to resolve from start to finish, and that answers it. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Donna, 379. My question is then what does the Finance Committee do? Isn't that their job to be doing that? Why do we need a subcommittee? I don't understand. I really don't understand that. That's the Finance Committee's job, is to do the research and give it to the board, and then the board can do what the board does with it, not have this extra committee. I don't agree with it. And I'm sure that if you ask people, they don't understand it either. It doesn't make any sense to me. If you have a financial committee, why you needed an investment subcommittee just to do research when that's the Financial Committee's job. Just my opinion.
So let me propose something. Would you hire a plumber to come and advise you on your electrical? But you've got people on the Finance Committee who do not have expertise in investments. So we want people who've got some strong expertise in that area to help us revise our policy.
Roberta Ernest, 712-996. I think one of the things that we're missing the point of, you can correct me, Darlene, is Alliance. Do we pay them?
It's through Alliance is a bank that and they invest, you're correct.
They're an institution, right?
Yes,
they're
they're
not
an
the only.
institution, and they go
right.
through our funds and make sure they're in an FDIC insured funds, and they disperse them so that we don't go over the.
Right. And it's not just that, they're basically an institution
Right.
that feeds out to all banking
Correct.
institutions.
Right, so they work with
small
not just.
and
Correct.
mom and pops to larger nationals.
Right, so they have a whole book of places they
Correct.
can go to. You're correct.
I agree. So we agree on that. So that's the point, is that we have an institution that is already doing what you're suggesting that the subcommittee is going to do. The other part is the policy is not worth changing when our CCNRs still say FDIC. I think it is the cart before the horse. You need to look at if you are going to be able to change the CCNRs to reflect some way of investing other than FDIC. That would be the first way to go. And then look at having an investment subcommittee that might be able to take a policy and either update something that we've seen out there, rewrite something that works for Happy Trails, and then proceed that way. But we already have a corporation, basically, an institution that already has connections with an algorithm of all the banking institutions across the United States to be able to put the $250,000 into CDs so that they are all protected. Thank you.
There's some questions on the chat. I can't see it too well, even with my new glasses. Give me a second. The first one looks like the first task should be to pull back all the investments that are risky and cash them in. It looks like a second one. The Finance Committee charter states one of their purposes is to review the investment of funds. And then a final comment, then let them go on the Finance Committee. I guess that's in refer to the subcommittee.
Any other questions?
Don Mosier, 476. Is the result that you want actually looking for a way to change the CCNR so that you can start investing money in other areas?
No.
Then why are you looking into it?
Step one is to ensure that what we are doing makes the most sense, and to make sure that the investment policy that is created is in keeping with our CCNRs. If down the road the decision is made that we need to revisit our CCNRs, that's a different thing than what we're trying to do right now.
Well, I just know that so many times in the recent past that, you know, the boards, not this one, but also the others behind you, have all wanted to change the CCNRs. And, you know, the CCNRs have been protecting us and doing the job for a long time. And they're doing a great job.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you hold that microphone a little bit with your hand up to the
sorry.
top of it? Up like this?
Oh, up there.
There you go.
Ice cream cone.
Okay. So anyway, I think, you know, when you keep trying to change the CCNRs, I don't think that's the right thing to do as a citizen, because I've seen them work for great, you know, in a great way for 22 years. We haven't had any problems at all. And we've had problems with boards, but we've never had problems with CCNRs. But I just am very concerned about what you're doing here, and if what you're really after is to change the CCNR so that you can invest money in other areas.
Not the goal.
One more goal, one more time. When can you answer this? Or maybe you can't, I don't know. But when can you get the money back that has been invested recently in the last couple of years or whatever?
That's going to be further down the agenda, so that will be answered
Oh, today?
today.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
All right, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, I call for the vote. All in favor? We have two. The motion on the floor right now is to create an investment committee that is a subcommittee of the Finance Committee. All in favor of creating a subcommittee? Aye. Opposed? Brad? Can't hear you.
How about now? Sorry. Yeah, I agree.
Thank you. The next motion, Fred? This is the members.
Motion passed 6-1.
I, Fred Rand, move to approve Lisa Day, Amy Lee, and Bruce Van Quest as members of the Investment Subcommittee and Becca Paulson as a Financial Committee representative for the Investment Subcommittee.
Second.
Do I have any questions from the board?
I move to amend the motion.
I second it.
By approving Lisa Day, Amy Lee, Bruce Van Guest as members of the Investment Committee, striking the appointment of Becca Paulson as a Finance Committee representative.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Do I have discussion from the board?
Well, I guess I'll step out. I'll step on the landmine. So basically, there's a lot of people that are trying to understand why we're allowing somebody that was part of our original problem to get back into it. And I have to agree with these people because we need a clean slate.
Do I have any other comments from the board? Do I have any comments from the owners?
Roberta Ernest, 712-996. I can hear you, Brad, but I'm curious as to why then no one had a problem with Mike Rugland being on the Finance Committee, who actually wrote the policy and had it passed in 2020, which created ultimately the issue we're in right now. So if you're not going to have Becca Paulson on there, then Mike Rugland shouldn't be on the Finance Committee, who's also going to have access to this. So do you have, that's something you have to consider right there when you're looking at voting her off. She, as far as I'm concerned, would be one of your best advocates to ensure you don't get into trouble. I've said this to one of the board members because she has been down this road and she knows what's to look for and what to follow. But if you're going to hold her accountable, then you need to hold Mike Rugland accountable in the Finance Committee. Thank you.
Steve Funk, lot 1282 and 1600. I too am a member of the Finance Committee and I have been on the Finance Committee for quite some time now. I've worked with Becca Paulson when she was the treasurer and she was the liaison, as Fred is, to the Finance Committee. She did a tremendous job. She was the one person that had a pretty good idea of the finances of Happy Trails, probably better than anybody else on the committee. and you don't want to have her on there. I understand your point of view on that. However, I had a real problem when this board put Mike Rugland on the Finance Committee, who wrote the policy that the next board followed, and all of this turmoil that we have had in Happy Trails over the past 6 months was because of the policy that was followed. So I think it's quite hypocritical if you say one person should be on the committee, on the Finance Committee, but somebody else shouldn't because of that whole debacle. I don't understand it. It just beyond me. I don't know why I would be part of it, because if that's the way it works, you guys are out of line.
I have to echo this too. I'm appalled. I'm absolutely appalled at this board even considering this. You all know that Becca Paulson is above and beyond reprobation on this. I have to agree. We all know, every single person on this board knows that Mike Rugland was the one who wrote that policy to begin with. We looked above and beyond. We forgave and forgot and moved on from that. And I moved on from that. And to put her aside when she is the one who stepped above and said and brought it to all of our attention that it was the CC&Rs that was different from that. And she's the one who brought it to everybody's attention and caught it and said, hey, this is a mistake and we need to make amends and correct this mistake. She's the one who stepped forward. And you're excusing her because of that? I'm appalled.
This is a board meeting. I would appreciate it if we could refrain from applauding. It is not a show.
Good afternoon. Mickey Aston, Lot 13. I just have some excerpts from the 2020 investment policy. It says on page 3, section 3, all monies will be invested in compliance with the association governing documents. The investment policy has sections that may not have been in compliance with our CC&Rs and our bylaws, but there are sections that did try to stay in line with our CC&Rs. Page 4, section 2, these funds should be issued by financial institutions that are insured by the FDIC and are limited to $250,000 in principal per institution. Page 6, section 8, acknowledgement, the board of directors of the Happy Trails Community Association and the management company recognize the fiduciary responsibility, support, and maintain the association's financial interests and stability. And I realize the investment subcommittee is going to be reviewing this policy and looking at those sections that were weak, and I appreciate that. Becca Paulson was our treasurer back in 2022 for the board. She also served as the liaison to the budget committee. She also was on the subcommittee for investments with Blaine Rubish. The two of them decided on August 25th by email message to the board members to invest over $1 million into annuities with a 24-hour notice to the board. Becca was involved with it in the beginning. I don't believe she's the one that brought it to the attention of the board in 2022. It's my understanding that management came in 2022, October, and brought it to the board's attention. So that's my interpretation. I appreciate what you guys are doing. Thank you.
Reverend 712-996, I want to make a correction. I'm sorry, Mickey, you were incorrect on one particular aspect. It was actually Blaine Rubish who noticed the violation of the FDIC piece, so he is the one that brought that forward, and it was about in the month of January of 2024. So, I'm sorry, 23. Also, it does say in here about being able to invest in corporate funds, treasuries, and those are not FDIC qualified at all. So yes, parts of the policy may be in alliance with the CC&Rs, but other parts are not. Therefore, it makes the entire investment policy null and void. So it does have to be either rewritten, but again, I'm going to go back with my original statement that if we can only do FDIC per our CCNRs, then that's what we need to stick with. That is our policy, and we don't need to have a type of policy. But again, it was Blaine Rubish actually, and Becca, and Barb Fugelberger, and at that time it was Jill McGregor, the management team, and it was the group that sought out the investments with Chris Howard of LPL. And so it was agreed upon by the board, 7 members of the board that agreed to proceed with the investments. Thank you.
Marla Festanese, lot 2323. Okay, yesterday I spent the day, part of the day, in the office reading Homeco contract, Chef Peter's contract. I had a few questions. So I realized that some of these rules were made back in 2020. I wasn't here yet. 22 is when I moved in. Darlene, Brad, we're not here yet. So unfortunately, they don't quite maybe know everything about that, as I don't. But reading it, Homeco is supposed to support and show the board how and how not to do things, and what to do and what not to do, what's the best to advise. As I guess we have an attorney as well, and he should be in on this. I don't understand the subcommittee. If that's what you want to do, fine. But if this other young lady, Rebecca, is good, I don't know why you want to remove her. The gentleman that you're talking about, he sounds like he could have a conflict of interest, and that's what happened with Blaine. And I'm not taking anybody's side here, okay? But that's why you got mad at Blaine, because you thought he had an interest, okay? I just know that we pay good money as owners to have Homeco help us. And as I read through the documents yesterday, and especially on page 6 and then the back, and it checks off who, local and the corporation, that help us, they're supposed to help us, guide us what we do with our money. Now, I also saw a paper showing how much we have right now, how much is an investment, how much we have currently, and the dates as to when they will come to renew. I don't see any reason, if you guys are so unhappy with the investment you currently have, why you do not remove the money. You might take a quote loss, but you still are not losing all the money. You still are getting back all the money that you put in plus.
Marla?
Yes.
Thank you. But right now we're talking about the people on the subcommittee. And I think we've strayed away from that. We need to stay on point. The motion on the floor is to, the amended motion on the floor is to have Lisa Day, Amy Lee, and Bruce Vangnes as members, but to remove Becca Paulson. So unless you wish to speak specifically to that, let's hang on.
Thank you, Jennifer, for bringing us back. First of all, Bradley, I know you're going to catch up with the comments that are on chat because there's quite a few coming in. It's my recollection that there was a conversation with about 6 people after a Meet the Candidates where Mr. Rubish came to our group of people in that area and said, 2 years after investing, I'm sorry, I am going off.
Yeah, you're going off.
I
And we
am.
really need to stay
We
on
are only
topic.
we are only talking about the motion on the, no, nothing else.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Stay on track,
Thank you,
please.
Jennifer. The people that are commenting also have my comments, so if you'll just read those, I appreciate it.
The 2020 policy was not followed either. It stated, again, this is not geared towards the motion. Do you want me to read it anyway? Okay, I don't think I should.
If it's not geared toward, if these comments are not geared toward the motion, then they are not applicable at this point in time. So are there any more comments from the owners with respect to the amended motion that removes Becca Paulson as the person from the Finance Committee that will serve on the Investment Committee. Do we have anything else that speaks directly to that? Then I will call for a vote for the amended motion. And I'm going to restate it. Jill?
Becca participated in an executive session where investments were discussed and should not have been. She then sent out an invalid attempt to approve that purchase. And all this was done under cover of summer. I'm not really sure what that's supposed to mean, as there was no official board meeting around the purchase. I don't think someone who did so much in secrecy should remain.
Where is that even coming from, that someone would know what happened in executive session? That's the first problem that I see with that comment. Okay. Once again, we do have a motion on the floor. It is an amended motion. I'm going to read it amended so that we all know exactly what it is. And it's, I, Fred Rand, move to approve Lisa Day, Amy Lee, and Bruce Vagnus as members of the Investment Subcommittee, and to remove Becca Paulson as the Finance Committee representative for the Investment Subcommittee. This has been moved and seconded. I am going to call for a vote. All in favor of removing Becca from this, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Revised motion carries. Moving along, the next motion. Cindy? Oh, no.
I, Cliff Giroux, move to approve Doug Doty as a member of the BGNM committee. Do I have a second? I second.
Are there any comments from the board about approving Doug Doty as a member to the BGNM committee? Do I have any comments from the members on approving Doug Doty to the BGNM committee?
Doug is very well knowledgeable about a lot of construction issues. I personally interviewed him, and he's got a great deal of knowledge. I think he'll be a benefit to the group.
Thank you, Cliff. Any other questions from the board?
And Doug is also on the safety committee, and he's been fantastic. He has a safety background also. So he's in construction and safety, so he's going to be perfect for the job.
Thank you both. Any comments, any additional comments from the owners? I call for the vote. All in favor of approving Doug Doty as a member of the BGNM committee, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
And next, Chuck.
I, Chuck Harvey, move to ratify the board resolution that Sarah Scott, Executive Vice President of HomeCo, Nicole Brown, Banking Manager of HomeCo, and Happy Trails Association Trader be authorized to act on behalf of the HTCA for, I don't know how to, Athene annuities.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
Chuck, can you go back and give us a little bit of explanation, please? Are you okay to do that?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Back in, there was a board resolution done and to establish this requirement, to have them handle the Athene annuities and the life company. So it's affected the transactions for such contracts. So the resolution had been reviewed by the previous board before I came on board. So it's basically just to confirm it.
Thank you, Chuck. This is basically to ratify a resolution because it needs to be on record in a board meeting. Do I have any questions from the board?
Yeah, I have a few questions. I'm concerned with why are we all of a sudden having them involved? Secondly, what's that going to cost us out of pocket to have them involved? I thought we already had everything covered.
I'm sorry, Brad, I didn't hear the question or understand the question. Can you please repeat?
Well, I'm curious why we need to do this, why we have to relinquish responsibility to HomeCo for our investments, and what is it going to cost us to do that?
There is no cost to do this, and this is simply adding HomeCo as people that can be involved with decisions on the annuities, on our two
Now,
annuities.
when you say involved, to what point? I mean, are they still only suggesting, or because what I was reading is they can verbally make agreements too?
No, the only thing they can do is bring things to the board. But until they have the ability to speak to Athene and get us information, which is what we're doing with this, is allowing HomeCo to get information from Athene to bring to the board so that the board can make decisions. It is simply allowing them access to the annuities.
Okay, so no decision process whatsoever.
None.
Okay, thank you.
Certainly. Do I have any other questions from the board? Do I have any questions from the owners?
There are some up on the chat too. I'll read those, but.
Angie Schmidt, lot 37. Then I think maybe the amendment needs to be, or motion needs to be changed, because it almost sounds like they have the right to sign for Happy Trails. And I don't think they should. I think that should be the board's responsibility. So personally, I think you need to amend that motion because it sounds to me like they can sign for Happy Trails.
Thank you.
And this is more of a statement. The annuities need to be liquidated. There's also a question in regards to the club reserve fund, but that's not the motion on the table at the moment. So
that is. This particular motion is to ratify something that has already been done. So we cannot amend the motion. We are ratifying something that was done. We are simply putting this on the agenda so that it is in the minutes so that everyone knows what has happened.
Okay, Roberta Ernest, 712-996. Can you clarify what the resolution was initially so that we understand what was done already? And then I'm going to sidebar on that and say, again, it's in the contract for HomeCo that they will monitor and make recommendations on investments. So I agree with the young lady that was up here before. The statement sounds more like they have access to make changes. So what was the original resolution apparently?
If everyone, do you want to read, Chuck? It is your motion, go.
It's basically, it says that the management of Humco and Happy Trails is to be authorized and empowered individually and collectively to establish and maintain one or more contracts on behalf of Happy Trails associations with Athena Annuity and Life Company, effectively transaction such contracts, provide verbal and written instructions to Athena in connection to such contracts, receive all communications from Athena on behalf of the legal entity related to such contracts, and take any and all actions necessary or appropriate in connection with such contracts.
So the only amendment is putting 3 people's names on it. That right there sounds to me like you just gave them access to do whatever they choose with those annuities. It doesn't say just collect data. It says to invest, reinvest. Basically, that's what the nomenclature is saying. So your resolution, probably not a good one, is my opinion.
Any additional comments from the owners?
The item that was just read by Chuck, was that ratified? Okay, but there was a decision made in the recent past, and I'm sorry, I don't know the verbiage on it. I don't know when it was made. I don't know what meeting that happened in.
I'm not understanding the question, Mickey.
What Chuck just read, has that already been agreed upon by this board?
Yes.
By 5 members of this board
Yes.
before there were 7 members of this
Yes.
board? When did that happen?
It happened electronic, by a 100% agreement electronic vote. That is why this is at this board meeting, so that it will be on record in the minutes, ratified by our 7-member board.
Okay. It's a
And-
new issue for me. I've not ever seen it or heard of it, so thank you.
Okay.
Marla Festinese, 2323. So basically what you're saying, no disrespect to Homeco, but as I said, I read the contract, and it sounds like you are giving Homeco full charge when they are actually to have their input giving to you guys as the board members. So that's not what it says in the contract, or at least the contract that I read yesterday.
Thank you. There's another line in here that says that the board may revoke this resolution at any time and for any reason. So, Chuck, is that what you were going to add? Okay. Chuck did not read all the way down that the board may revoke this at any time. So, any other?
Sorry, but in the ratification that you read, it says take action, I believe. So even in there, it says that they have the ability to take action. What does action mean? I mean, it's not specific, so is action sign? Is action making to make a decision? I have a problem with that. I think the board needs more oversight in that, so that's my opinion.
Thank you. Do I have any other questions from the owners?
This is Donna 379. When was this ratified first? What board meeting?
It was not ratified at a board meeting. It was ratified by a 100% electronic vote. The reason that it is at this board meeting wasn't ratified. It was agreed upon in a 100% electronic vote. It is on this agenda so that it can be, so that what has already taken place can be ratified.
Okay, so my question is, do you not think that you should have brought it to a board meeting so the owners would have been able to hear this and understand it and know what exactly is going on instead of a electronic okay, I totally 100% disagree with this, and I agree with Angela? Yeah, because it sounds like you're giving Homeco permission to just take over. And I'm sure as much trouble as we've had with everything that's been going on here, to do this, I don't, it smells fishy to me. Sorry, guys.
Thank you, Donna. Do I have any other questions from the owners? I am going to call for a vote to ratify this resolution. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay. And motion passes.
Okay, I, Chuck RV, move to amend the February motion to rescind the investment policy, to not rescind the investment policy, and add Sarah Scott, Homeco Executive Vice President, Nicole Brown, Homeco Banking Manager, to Section 4, Item 1, Review and Control.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Chuck, would you like to go back and, thank you.
This is basically because to add the Homeco as part of the authority under the policy, correct? So basically, it's part of this policy to, but not only the treasurer, but also just assure that we're following, that Homeco has in the written documents.
Thank you, Chuck. What has happened here is just an explanation so that everybody can be on the same page. In February, the board had a motion to rescind the current investment policy. At the February board meeting, that motion was tabled. When a motion is tabled, it needs to come before the board at the next board meeting. So at the March board meeting, what happened was we untabled the motion to rescind the investment policy. However, we now need to act on that initial motion. So what Chuck is saying is that he wishes to amend the initial motion to rescind the investment policy, to keep the investment policy in place, and in Section 4, Item 1, Review and Control, to add both Sarah Scott and Nicole Brown, in keeping with the fact that Homeco does manage our investments. All of that said, what we're trying to do is to be clean in this moment in time. And I would like to stress, be clean in this moment in time. We have today approved an investment committee, we have this day and time approved members to that committee, and we have this day and time, as Cindy pointed out, one of their first tasks is going to be to review our investment policy. But until that policy is reviewed and changed, and we all know, sitting at this table, that it needs to be revised, we need to have this amendment to have it on the table so that we can at least get it current with HomeCo as people on that investment policy. Board, do I have any discussion, please? Owners, discussion, please. I call for a vote. All in favor of Chuck's motion to rescind the investment policy? Wait, I'm reading. I'm sorry. Thank you, Cindy. I'm going to start and just read the whole thing. I, Chuck Garvey, move to amend the February motion to rescind the investment policy, to not rescind the investment policy, and to add Sarah Scott, HomeCo Executive Vice President, and Nicole Brown, HomeCo Banking Manager, to Section 4, Item 1, Review and Control. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
My turn in this debacle. I move to approve allowing the annuities reach maturity dates of September 2025 and September 2027, and to withdraw the 10% allowed each year with no penalty.
Seconded by Fred. Board discussion, please.
Well, I think personally that we should take our one that's due in September and pull it out. And at the same time, go ahead and take our 10% on the one that's got 2 more years left and be able to take that 10% out each year until it's matured and then remove it.
I was wondering if there was a window on the time that we can take that 10% out. Can we take the 10% out this year? So the annuity that's going to end in September 25, can we take 10% out of that now?
It is my understanding that up until the date, it can be taken out. So the answer is yes. Date it matures. So the answer.
We'll be able to take 50,000 out 4
Yes.
times through this process with both
No.
annuities.
No, we will be able to take out 50,000 of the one maturing September this year.
Correct.
We will be able to take out 100,000 of the one maturing in 2 years. Because we've only got this year. I see where you're going, Greg. So we should have 25, 26, 27 to take out. So that would mean taking out 200,000 over both maturities before date of maturity.
That's my thought.
Yes.
Right.
Any other discussion, questions from the board?
I think the one that's maturing in September is really close on. I think by the time we do the paperwork and go through all the motions, it'll be matured. So I think we should let that one ride and start the process now to close it out. I think the one that matures September 2027, we should take the hit and pay the penalty and cash it out. We'll still make money on that annuity. We'll still be ahead by about, I think it's 20,000, give or take. But I think we should close that out and be on the right side of all of this.
Close it out in September of this year. Yeah.
Close out the one that's going to mature in 2027. Close that one out now.
Okay, great. Yeah.
So what we have written here, where we're taking the first one out in 2025, 100%. But the one in 2027, it says 10% each year up until 2027. We're now changing it to do both at the same time?
We would have to amend the motion. If we wish to amend the motion, we can amend the motion and have conversation. But right now, we are discussing this motion. So the motion on the floor is to allow them to mature, pulling 10% each year without penalty. So do I have any other comments from the board before I open it to the owners on the motion on the table?
Okay, so I guess I'm really trying to understand this. So when we originally just, or I thought what was the one that's due in 2025, we take it out in September.
I think you need to, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. I think you need to say when it matures, because you keep saying take it out and people are getting confused.
Okay.
So when it matures is when you want to pull that money out, because it's matured.
So when the first one matures in September of this year.
Yes.
We were going to take 100%, take it completely, close it out.
Yes.
So the one in 2027, we would mature or take little 10% maturity until the end of 2027, and then take the rest of it all out, correct?
Yes.
So now we're changing it to amend to something else.
We haven't changed it yet.
Okay.
What you've just, we have not changed it yet. What you've just said is exactly what the motion is. Okay? Cindy was just stating her thoughts on the motion. Cindy was stating her thoughts on the motion on the floor. Do I have any owners who would like to comment on this before we read the screens? Bradley?
I'll read it. He can't see with his new glasses. Happy Trust Community Association does not and has never had an insurable interest in Blaine R., the annuitant of those Athene annuities. Without an insurable interest, they represent an unsanctioned investment, a host of financial problems, and an acceptable risk of community funds. I contend that the financial agent and his company, all of the board members together with the members of their finance committee, all involved in the purchase of these products, knew beforehand that under Arizona law and the federal regulations governing life insurance beneficiaries without insurable interest, that the HTCA stood the risk, the potential loss in all of HTCA's investment, all $1 million, would be unrecoverable should Blaine die before the annuities matured. It is not conjecture. It is the outcome mandated by Arizona law, and I don't know who wrote that. I don't know.
Actually, that particular comment that was just read has been given to the association's attorney. What I can tell you at this point in time is that there was question about, no secret that Blaine is the annuitant on these two annuities. And my question was, what happens should Blaine pass away? Heaven forbid. Blaine is a young, healthy man. Heaven forbid. So that is a concern and a question. What happens? So if Blaine passes away, the annuities are liquidated at their current dollar amount with no penalties. There is a full process as to how that happens should Blaine pass away. There has to be notification of his death. There has to be a contract to claim status. They have to review it. They have to ask Happy Trails how they would like their money, because Happy Trails Community Association is the beneficiary of the two annuities. They would ask how we would like that money dispersed, how we would like to receive it. This process of getting the money from the annuities, should Blaine pass away, could take up to 60 days. But there is no danger in that anyone getting the money except Happy Trails Community Association. And I think I need to put that out there only because what this gentleman is saying speaks to that a bit. So this piece has been verified by Athene. This is what happens in the event of Blaine's passing. Okay. So, okay, do I have any questions from the owners? I would like to call for a vote.
Can we ask what exactly we're voting on? Because there's been a lot thrown around. Can we listen to it again, please?
Sure, we can do that. I will reread the motion so that everyone knows what motion we are voting on. The motion has not been amended. The motion is, I, Cindy Evans, move to approve allowing the annuities reach maturity dates of September 2025 and September 2027, and to withdraw the 10% allowed each year with no penalty. Fred seconded the motion. I call for the vote.
Let me do a recall vote because we are talking about money. Okay.
And Darlene will do a roll call vote.
Cindy Evans? She opposed, if you didn't hear. Cliff Giroux? No. Opposed. Fred Rand? No. Opposed.
No.
Chuck Garvey?
No.
Brad Midkiff?
No.
Greg Sherman?
No.
Jennifer Ellswick?
No.
Motion did not pass.
I'd like to move to amend the motion to allow the annuities to reach maturity dates of September 2025 and to cash out the annuity maturing September 2027.
I second the motion.
Directors, discussion. The motion failed. The motion has been amended, and the new amended motion is to cash out in entirety the annuity that matures in September of 2025 and to cash. Cindy's going to reread this.
The motion is to approve allowing the annuity to reach maturity date of September 2025 and to cash out the annuity maturing September 2027 with penalty.
Thank you, Cindy. Fred seconded. Directors, would you like to discuss?
How much are we going to lose?
I have that number. Okay, the contract number for the one that is expiring in 2027, I want to make sure that I have this accurate. Maturity date 9/19/2027 is the penalty will be $30,212.50.
And again, that might change a little bit because depending on the day that it's done.
Right, and the current amount of that annuity right now is $558,110.68. So we will not lose money.
I would like to also say, and this is not something that I know because we would obviously have to ask Athene, but that penalty number, as Darlene just mentioned, may go down slightly because this penalty number is about 4 weeks old right now. And the other consideration is that perhaps we could pull out our 10% at no penalty and have a lower penalty at cash out. Just my brain going, no confirmation on that. So to answer your question, Brad, there may be a slightly less than $30,212 penalty for cashing out.
So are we going to take it out September of 2020, take the 27 out in September of 2025 and take them both out at that time? Is that what we're talking about? Or removing September 27 now?
I would get rid of the 2027 annuity now, not wait.
Can I just make a comment? I would recommend trying to see if we can get that 10% first before we ask them to pull that. That's just my recommendation.
I agree with that. Yeah, take that 10% out of both of those annuities first. It's fantastic.
Do owners have any questions, please?
Hi, I'm Jack Beshin from Lot 900. I'm a little fuzzy with math, so Cindy said that we wouldn't lose any money if we pulled out the one that's due in 27, right? So the $30,000 hit we're taking from that would come out of what, our profit to this point?
Yes, the 30,000 would come out of the total value of the annuity right now, which is $558,000.
Okay, so we have
We would have-
550. So it's been making money so far.
Yes.
Okay, but if we don't leave it in, we're going to take a $30,000 hit from the profit. Okay.
That is
Makes
correct.
sense to me.
Nikki Aston, Lot 13. I appreciate this motion. I know it doesn't matter if I'm in agreement. Can you tell us what the cash value, the surrender value is on the one that's coming due in 2025? And if the one in 2027 is at approximately 550,000 and we may have to surrender interest earned, we would be at approximately 528,000 on the one from 27.
One for 27, yes. So the current dollar value on the annuity coming due in 2025 is $551,310.86.
Okay. So there is no loss of investment.
No, there's no loss of principal.
Thank you.
Do we have any idea if we take that 500 and some odd $1,000 out and we reinvest it in CDs, how much money we would make in the 2 years that we would have in the 2 years? Any guesstimate? So we're losing 30,000. Would we get somewhere in the neighborhood of that $30,000 if we invested it in another account?
I don't know what the value would be over 2 years. I don't have an estimate on that. What I do know is that we will be on the right side of our CCNRs and our investments will be in the right place.
That's an emotional thing. I'm looking at finances here. $30,000 is a lot of money. And I know, sitting on the board for the last 3 years, we had a lot of times where different clubs and different rooftops and different building things came to us asking for money. And we agonized over every single dollar that came up to us. And $30,000 is a lot of money. And we agonized over every single one of those dollars. And to just say, oh, well, $30,000, no big deal. It is a big deal. And all I'm asking is, that's emotion. I'd feel better if we were just on the right side. We've been on this side for decades already. And I'm thinking if we can reinvest it and not lose $30,000, I'd feel better.
You know, I'm sure that the money that's being taken out is going to be reinvested, but I believe we're looking at it, as Cindy stated, we want to abide by the CCNRs, which they're not in there now. It's not going by the CCNRs, and we need to do that as a new board. We're not going to lose the money other than the fact that, yes, we're losing the interest, but we're at least getting it back to where it's FDIC insured, and we're not going to lose anything there. If something were to happen in 2 years, we could lose $500,000. And I don't think we want to do that.
Angie Schmidt, lot 37. And I just did a calculation at 500,000, 3.5%. Don't know if we can get it, but that's $17,500 a year. So, and we don't have a realized gain yet on those annuities because we haven't received the money yet, right? So it's not even a realized gain. So that's just something to keep in mind too. So I just threw out a number at 3.5%, but it gets close to recovering that. So
Thank you. I would like to, Cliff brings a point that I would like to say, that both of our annuities are insured by the National Organization of Life and Health Insurance Guarantee Associations, NOLHGA. And the contract that is coming due in September of this year is insured for $455,000, and the contract that is coming, it is maturing in September in 2 years. It is also insured for $455,000. So Cliff brought a good point, but even if, a catastrophic thing happened, we would not lose $1 million. Both of those annuities were insured for $455,755. So just a point.
Well, my opinion is I think that this will get us back on the right side of where our CCNRs are, and it's the cleanest and fastest way. So I think it's a wise move.
Do I have any other comments?
Sandy Green, lot 1607 today. So getting on the right side of the CCNRs, we're not only not on the right side with just the annuities, will you address cash out, surrender, whatever word you want to call it, those corporate bonds? To get in line with their CCNRs, make them FDIC insured. Will that happen next? Is that happening now? What's the plan for that? We're not just out of alignment with the annuities. We have the corporate bonds.
That is correct, and that is the next step of getting in line with our CCNRs. We are trying to do this correctly, and this is the first step. This is the chunk of money, first step. We will next address the bonds.
Okay, I just think that if everybody is getting the same information, Angie has great stuff. She's got a lot of experience. She knows a lot of things. We all know Roberta has her things. They're all involved. I think if owners all hear the same thing and we hear the information in writing from the great front steps Brad's put out there, from you guys, I think all this controversy will go away. We just all want to be one. Get our money invested. Don't give all the authority to HomeCo. Don't give it all to Greg. Don't give it all to Jennifer. Spread it out. Let's just start supporting each other.
Thank you, Sandy. Fred.
To answer your question on a bond, we got one that's coming due on 5/12. I've already called, talked to Dawn. She's putting it in a CD at a better rate than what the bond was bringing. So that's been moved. That's the first one.
We have a couple questions up on the chat. How about taxes saved on interest made? Savings there?
We have paid taxes on the money that we've made off of the annuities. I do not know exactly how much that is, so I cannot address how much we would save.
These are just kind of comments, but I guess we can read them out. Will we also pay taxes on the return from the investment? So the board of directors needs to be careful as to which fiscal year they take the funds. We are just about to go into a new fiscal year. Oh, I think Dave's trying to bring up some more for us. Yeah, these are comments again, and I appreciate that the board is looking into following the CCNRs, especially since they are responsible for getting residents to follow the CCNRs. Yeah, these are no questions here, a lot of comments.
Do I have anything else from the honors? Let's call for a roll call vote. No, Darlene, hold, please. Cindy, will you restate what we're voting on, please?
Let's see if I can get this right. I move to approve allowing the annuity reaching maturity date September 2025 to remain and to cash out the annuity maturing September 2027 immediately.
Thank you, Cindy. Roll call vote, Darlene.
Okay, Cindy Evans,
Yes.
Cliff Giroux, Fred Rand,
Yes.
Chuck Garvey.
Yes.
I always want to say Steve Garvey. Sorry. Brad Bigkiff,
Yes.
Greg Sherman,
Yes.
and Jennifer Alswick.
Yes.
Motion passed. Thank you.
Brad? Yeah.
Yes. The motion is for us to go ahead and properly, yes.
Brad, please read the motion.
You froze.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's my first time. Well, for some reason, I cannot find the motion. Okay. Crud. Sorry.
Okay, Brad. I'm going to read it, and then you can read. Did you find it?
Move to approve moving forward on the bulk trash service.
Do I have a second to that motion? Thank you. Brad, will you go back, please, and give us a little bit of history and explain this motion for keeping the bulk trash services?
We back in 24, we went ahead and extended our rental of the fencing to give us more time to find out if the bulk trash was a positive thing. It looks like it's been extremely positive, so we would like to go ahead and make the fencing permanent.
Board, questions, comments?
I second it.
Board discussion. Any comments about the bulk trash? Any questions from the board about the bulk trash? Owners, any questions about the bulk trash?
I got something online if you want to get to it.
Marla?
In September 2023, the budget committee recommended to the board to remove all the dumpsters except villas and maintenance due to excessive expenses. Now HG continues paying extra costs due to residents' unwillingness to take care of their own non-household garbage needs. It's time to consider cutting costs, revisit total costs of continuing bulk dumpsters. Other options is adding Parks and Sons offer twice a monthly curbside pickup. Seems better option to HOA and homeowners.
Marla Festanese, 2323. So I'm looking at new business, J number 4. It says forward with, it says approved moving forward with bulk trash services. Doesn't say anything about a fence. Are you going to be approving a fence?
If the board agrees, if the board votes to move forward with the bulk trash as it is, then the board will make the decision as to put up permanent fencing. But before we can put up permanent fencing, we need to decide if we are going to move forward with the bulk trash. Do I have any other questions from the owners?
The only problem with having bulk put out at the streets is that that could turn out to be extremely messy and very hard to control.
Thank you, Brad. Any other comments on continuing with bulk trash? Then I'm going to call for a vote. I'm going to call for a vote to approve moving forward with bulk trash service. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I, Chuck Garvey, move to approve the purchase of a new dishwasher for the Chuck Wagon in the amount of $6,995 to be paid out of Reserve 829.
I second that. I second that motion.
Chuck, would you like to give some background here, please?
Sure. Money is coming out of the initial study that was done between 5/1 of 2022 and 4/30 of 2023. The history of the dishwasher's life expectancy is well past beyond the zero area, and that this is part of the understanding between the agreement between us and Chef Peter that we were replacing it when it became a 0-year end period.
Thank you. It's got to be my mic. Dave? I would just like to expand on that slightly, that when something hits zero life on the reserve study and it truly has reached zero, it's no longer functioning, then we do replace it. I would like to further state that anything that is replaced in the Chuck Wagon, i.e. the new dishwasher, it belongs to Happy Trails. It is a piece of Happy Trails. It does not belong to Chef Peter. So just clarifying that. Do I have any comments from the owners?
Donna 379. The cost of the dishwasher have we checked to make sure that we've checked prices with everybody, not just half,
Yes, we have gone through a couple, and this was kind of right in the middle on the lower end, to be honest. Everything else was extremely higher than this price. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Question?
Art Gray, lot 1295. I've always been concerned about what we are getting as a return on our investment with the Chuck Wagon. We really don't know, I don't think, what Chef Peters is contributing to the revenue of this park. We're putting out this money for dishwashers, which is a capital improvement, kind of like the bar and dishwasher and the other machine. And I don't know for a fact whether we're getting on our lease payments, whether we're making money on the thing, losing money, or what's going on. It's kind of a gray area, I hate to say it, in respect to the revenues from the Chuck Wagon on our lease. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Do I have any other comments from owners? I will call for the vote. It is a money vote. The motion is to approve the purchase of a dishwasher for the Chuck Wagon in the amount of $6,995 to be paid out of reserve item number 825. Darlene will do a roll call vote.
829, reserve item
829.
Okay, Cindy Evans,
Yes.
Cliff Giroux,
Yes.
Fred Rand,
Yes.
Chuck Garvey,
Yes.
Brad Midkiff,
Yes.
Greg Sherman,
Yes.
Jennifer Ellswick.
Yes.
Motion passed. Thank you.
I can say I, Steve Garvey, if I want to. I, Chuck Garvey, AKA Steve Garvey, move to approve the purchase of a new convection oven for the Chuck Wagon in the amount of $9,500 to be paid out of reserve number 828.
Second.
Just, Chuck, would you like to explain this a bit, please?
Yeah, this is to, on the line of 828, it's talking about an oven, a pizza oven, if I remember correctly, and we're changing it to a convection oven, which is cheaper and less than what the pizza oven was supposed to be. And we already have one pizza oven. We're just now replacing that one with a convection oven, so we still will have a pizza oven. We'll have one pizza oven and one convection oven.
Yay. Any other questions from the board? I would just like to say that what this does is allow the Chuck Wagon to have both a pizza oven and a regular oven, which will make their ability to prepare food more efficient. Questions from the owners, please? The motion is to purchase a convection oven for the Chuck Wagon in the amount of $9,500 to be paid out of reserves 828. Darlene, will you do a roll call vote, please?
Okay. Cindy Evans,
Yes.
Cliff Giroux,
Yes.
Fred Rand,
Yes.
Chuck Garvey,
Yes.
Brad Midkiff,
Yes.
Greg Sherman,
Yes.
Jennifer Ellswick.
Yes.
Motion passed. Thank you.
I move to approve the request for a memorial bench at NC1 to be paid for by the owner. And this is a bench.
Second.
Oh,
Second.
this is a bench that the homeowner wants to put in for their pet. And it's going to go in the gravel area in front of the parking lot at the corner. I guess just in that area.
Thank you. Board? Board, questions, comments, ideas? I have a comment. I believe that memorial benches are nice. I am a pet owner, and serenity is my world. Don't tell Mike. And I understand people wanting to honor and memorialize their pet. However, it is my opinion that we will run out of real estate in Happy Trails, not just for a bench for a beloved pet, but also memorial benches for people that have lived in Happy Trails. For people, we do have Memorial Park where people can buy a brick, and that's such a lovely way to remember people that have lived here. So the thought process is perhaps we try to find a different way to memorialize beloved pets. My comments on this motion. Anything else from the board? Owners, any comments?
I am the owner that's requesting this, Julie Paddock, 1212. So we wanted to memorialize our dog.
I'm
And-
sorry, Julie, can you hold the mic up
Oh,
right
yeah.
here, like this?
Yep.
With your hand
And
raised.
Julie Paddock, 1212. So when our dog passed away, I had seen these benches all over Happy Trails, and I started researching it and looking at them. And I took into consideration not to interfere with landscaping, interfere with where people it would be in their way. And we took our dog there. That area that we're talking about in NC1 is a grassy area that only dogs go. It's just where people take their dogs. There's the dog bags there, and we took our dog there. So we thought, as I went around Happy Trails and saw all the different benches, and I thought, oh, this would be a great place. It's, in the rocky area where it would never have to be moved. There's a tree, it could be out far enough from the tree. We researched the cost of the bench. I called the gentleman, Brad gave me the name of the gentleman that does the plaques. And I looked at all the benches all over Happy Trails, which I thought, oh, the Stitchery one is by Stitchery, and the one by, each person, whatever they were involved in, that's where the bench went. And so I thought, okay, well, this would be nice. This would be nice to memorialize our dog. It wouldn't interfere with anybody. And I've not seen, there's a lot of space here, and I disagree with what you're saying, that there'd be a run of, if people wanted benches, we'd run out of space. I'm not seeing that happen. And when the suggestion was made for the brick and the memorial, my dog never went there. We don't go there. And I think is that the property that owned by the golf course? My dog was not allowed to go on the golf course. So I just have to say that when I appreciated the effort and the thought that it was suggested to me prior to this meeting, that would be a better place. Not for me. I don't go there. I never took my dog there, and I would be able to see my dog. Not see my dog, but I'd be able to see his bench and other people that take their dogs to a specific dog area.
Thank you. Do I have any other comments from the owners, please?
Donna 379. Okay. Anybody that knows Julie and Dave knows Gunner. Gunner was the greatest dog ever. Even, I have to say, better than my two little chihuahuas, okay? Everybody knows him. He participated in golf cart parades. He was always around. He was the best dog ever. And to put a bench right there in NC1, where people that do take their dogs there, which there are plenty of people that do, can sit down and be with their dog, I think it is the greatest idea ever, and the owners want to pay for it. It's not costing us anything. I understand where you're coming from, but you know what? Someday Jason's going to get really pissed off at us, and he's going to tell us to move that memorial park. Just saying. I know it's coming. So to have something placed where Gunner was always there, and let me tell you, I miss Gunner. He used to go by my house every day, and I would be out there and go, hi, Gunner. Oh, yeah, by the way, hi, Dave. Because he was an awesome dog. And what better way to honor somebody or an animal that actually was a part of Happy Trails.
Thank you, Donna. Linda?
Linda Johnson, 2161. As someone in the past that dealt with ordering the memorial benches for the association, all of those benches have been paid by the individual homeowners who were trying to memorialize, their loved one. I have nothing against this one, a dog or anything, but maintenance is responsible for taking care.
No, move your hand up the mic. Up. Your
No,
hand.
no, like an ice cream cone.
Okay, maintenance, nope.
Keep going up. Like this. You got it.
Okay, I got it. Maintenance is responsible for taking care of these benches. And I do know for a fact that they eventually deteriorate. We had one in the villas that eventually delaminated or did something, and it became a health issue because people were sitting down on it and they were getting cuts. The brass plaque was taken off and it was hung on the fence in the villa pool. But if one bench deteriorates, these things aren't going to last forever. And I agree, we need to come up with something, because it's true that the Memorial Park might not ever be there, but the benches aren't going to be there forever either, because we know, anybody that lives in the villas knows that the one that was in the villa area, it has been removed because it fell apart. And it was the same bench that all of these other benches are. So just something to think about in the back of your mind. Maintenance has to do it, and they're not forever.
Thank you, Linda. Any other comments from owners, please?
Marla Festinese, lot 2323. I have a cat. I don't have a dog. But I know Julie, and I will go there and I will help, or I will assist in either removing it when it gets too old, or I will go and I will help keeping it good. This is a memorial, and I think over in NC1 it would be a really nice place. We have outdoor lines where we can hang our clothing. I don't think that this is too much to ask. And I will, you got my name, you got my number, and I will go over there and I will help, whatever I can do.
Thank you, Marla. Do I have any other comments from owners? I will call for the vote. The motion is to approve a bench for Gunner at NC1. All
I
in
second.
favor? Opposed? Brad Mitke, do we hear you? You're off. You're muted.
I'm sorry. I oppose.
Thank you.
Motion passed 5-2.
Thank you. And the next one is Cliff, please.
I, Cliff Giroux, move to approve the YSC paving proposal for the amount not to exceed $155,000. This will be paid out of the reserves item number 208.
Do I have a second? Do I have a second?
Second.
Board discussion on this. Cliff, would you like to go and explain a bit about this, please?
Yes, we spoke about this in the BJM meeting, and we had a number of proposals, and I've also had some talk from other people opposing that, because we have, I believe it's the same contractor that did it last year. Is that correct?
Well, YSC did the concrete for us while Copper State did the pavement. So YSC was a part of the job. They did not do it all, but they were doing the concrete. And that was 2 years ago.
Not the black.
Correct.
Okay. Then I would say I agree that it should be done. We've gotten a decent proposal from them, and they know exactly what we want done.
Board discussion on this. I would just like to say that we have spent a great deal of money redoing our roads. So it's important that we maintain them at this point in time. Seal coating them, crack filling them, doing those things that helps this very expensive asphalt project last. Bradley, would you like to add anything?
Yes, I will. So we use Frank's Consulting with a lot of this asphalt. They're the ones that help us out with, doing the pavement and everything. So they put together a 5-year maintenance plan for us, and that's kind of what we go off of. So when we had them come out, they used numbers from 2023. Now, of course, the wear and tear on that pavement and some of the water spots we've had have extended past those original numbers. So as you look at that sheet, you will see a difference in square yardage, but that's only due to the fact that, Frank's was only going from a 2023 number. Now, they did come out with the contractors, and when they were marking them all out, that's when each company gave us their own numbers, and we're going to, after we vote on one, we'll go and, make these numbers final. So this, again, is not a final number. It was a ballpark. YSC was not the lowest, nor were they the highest. They were kind of there in the middle. We did use them before. We had some, I guess they had some mechanical issues, although with a little latency on it. But the work they did was good, and with the BGM, we feel comfortable. It's the evil we know, so we feel comfortable moving forward with it.
I have a question because I know they weren't the lowest. Why wasn't the lowest not selected?
Because usually, more than likely, the lowest is not always the best. Just because they give you a low number doesn't mean they're the greatest one.
Well, I realize that, but was there another criteria that you didn't select them? Because Morgan pavement was a little bit less at 145 versus YSC at 146.
Right, and a part of that was the reputation part. We know YSC, we've done business with them, so that's kind of.
So we didn't do business. We haven't done business with Morgan. So
not that I'm aware of. Again, I've only been a managing
No, I'm just trying to understand.
No, I understand. Right.
What steps we determine not to
right.
pick the
well,
lowest
we
one.
lean on Franks a lot for this. So, that's what we pray Franks to do, is go out there, get these bids, find reputable, good contractors for us to look at and narrow down that search. So we're not getting 100 different contractors. Franks does that legwork for us to get us good, solid, reputable, I should say, companies.
Steve Farthing from BGM also picked these guys, and he's really very bright, and I trust him explicitly.
I agree.
So did Frank's vet the numbers of the square footage or whatever it was that?
Correct. And again, those are just ballpark numbers. Once we land on the contractor, then we can settle in on the actual numbers and look at the scope of work we're talking about.
Right.
But yes, Frank's was a part of that. Yes.
Did they have any recommendation about which vendor?
No. They give us the handful of. They narrow down the search for us, and then from there it's our decision. They're not going to tell us we like this company more than this company. That's not their job. They're giving us the reputable companies that they know of, and then from there it's like here the games or the ball's in your court.
I would just like to say that we do realize this is a not to exceed number. It is not an exact number. So Chuck, to answer your question, it may come in ultimately at 146. We're just at the not to exceed on this motion.
I would like to at least make a suggestion that we at least give the lowest price the opportunity. So maybe a second round with best and final pricing for both.
So the issue with some of that is that you tend to, tow around these companies, and you say we go with 2 of them and we ask for them to rebids. At the end of the day, we're wasting one of that company's time, and that's going to make us look rough. And then the word of mouth is a big part with these companies. So they find out that Happy Trails is saying, oh yeah, we'll just drag you along because they're looking for the best price. It kind of makes it hard for us to get contractors in the community.
The estimators for the company, the company sends out their own estimators. So it's never going to be exactly the same because the company's trying to protect itself.
Anything else from the board? Do I have any?
Well, it's kind of hard to have a comparison apples to apples without a specification. So if you allow the contractor to decide what needs to be done, they're going to do whatever and then come in for a change order.
Okay.
Not necessarily, because we still narrow down these numbers. So again, the numbers that Franks get is from 2023. When they come out and measured, they noticed the road was, deteriorated in more places than what was originally scoped for. So they give us the roundabout numbers of what they think, and then when we land on the contractor, they'll come out here, and then we'll narrow down, telling them what we want with the price and all of that. So the scope of work will be determined by us, not them.
So was YSC the main contractor last year for all the blacktop and concrete work that was done?
No, they did the concrete work. Copper State did the asphalt.
All right, thank you.
Do I have any questions from owners?
Bill Trice, lot 2350. I have a question about the seal coat. It seems like the black always wears off, or not wears off, but we track it in our house. Is there any way that we can not get that anymore?
I'm working with them on that. That is something I've heard a lot about, of the tracking of the dirt, and it tends to cover up the paint quite a bit too. So yes, that is something when we get to that point, that is something I will definitely mention.
Sir? Bill, I want to thank you for that comment, because I have to take my shoes off before I go in my house if I walk on the road. So thank you.
Yeah. Donna 369 or 379. I don't know where I live anymore. They're going to do Dale Evans, right? Because if those cracks in that road get any bigger, we're going to have small animals down inside of it.
There's cracks on Dell Evans?
Oh. But can I
I'm
ask?
teasing you. I'm teasing you.
I
Yes.
know,
Yes,
I know.
very much
but
so
can
they
I
are.
ask that when they are doing it and we do have construction work, can we not park the trucks on Dale Evans? Because I really think that the big heavy trucks that they park there are part of the reason that Dale Evans is looking the way it's looking. I mean, I think the weight of those trucks are breaking that too. And yes, please talk to them about the dirt, please, or the black, yuck.
Yeah,
I
absolutely. When
appreciate
we're at the pavement repairs part, we can definitely work on a staging area to keep them off the roadway there.
Yeah, maybe
Absolutely.
up in the Cascade parking
Sure.
lot or something,
Or,
but.
or in
when
the villas.
Or the villas, yeah, put them in the villas. There you go.
Any other comments from owners, please?
No, not a comment. Marilyn Klein, lot 392. What areas are going to be done this year?
For the crack fill and seal coat is going to be the villas, all of section 3 down Della Evans and the side routes there, over in section 6 on Palo Verde, and then section 8 in our supers. And then there's a couple areas of pavement repair, or an area on Happy Trails Boulevard across from the gazebo. We get some water built up on the pavement there, so they're going to mill that down and have the water flow. So a little work there, but yeah, mostly villas, section 3, 8, and 6.
I wonder Dale Evans is becoming a main thoroughfare. What can we do to stop all the heavy trucks? I know people order things from Lowe's and the cement and all the pavers and everything, but do they have to have only a half a load when they go down the road? Because they weigh their own weight.
Right. I mean, and that gets a little difficult. I mean, we can try and work on that, but given with folks doing work on their lots, and it's really hard to, yeah.
Thank you, Marilyn. Any other comments from owners? I'm going to call for the vote on the motion to approve YSC paving for an amount not to exceed $155,000 to be paid out of reserve item 208. Darlene will do a roll call vote.
Cindy Evans,
Yes.
Cliff Giroux,
Yes.
Fred Rand,
Yes.
Chuck Garvey, Brad Midkiff,
Yes.
Greg Sherman,
Yes.
Jennifer Elswick.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-1. Thank you.
Greg, you're up.
I move to approve the proposal for street signs and poles for Happy Trail Boulevard and Roy Rogers for the amount not to exceed $10,000 to be paid out of the general fund.
Second.
This is a project that the Safety Committee has put together, and is what they're doing is they're trying to put the stop signs all at the same height so that there's not a
Greg,
low sign here and a
Greg.
tall sign.
Board meeting, talk to us. Talk to us.
All right, I'll talk to you. So, yeah, sorry about that. So they want to get the signs all at the same height, also larger signs, crosswalk signs, because we're putting in new crosswalks. And I think the uniformity is going to help everybody so that there's less issue with, I didn't see that stop sign, to try to help control the traffic.
Thank you. Do I have comments, questions from the board, please?
I just want to make sure that it was understood. The last meeting, the safety committee presented themselves, and with the recommendations from the City of Surprise Traffic / Police, correct? So this is part of that recommendation.
That is correct.
Do we really need them 30 inches, stop signs?
In my personal opinion, I would put them bigger. Yeah. And everything I've ever heard is bigger with the signs. So yes, I personally, I do think so.
Do you know how wide these tables are? If we don't feel old now, we're going to feel old when them signs are put up.
Right, and I also don't want to, this is all a part of the safety, it's kind of a overlap with the safety committee and the BGM. This is also in coordination with restriping on Happy Trails Boulevard and Roy Rogers. Now, within the sections, we're not going to do 30-inch stop signs. We're going to go down to the 24-inch within the neighborhoods. That way, that reflective is not. But on those big boulevards, yes, 30. I believe that bigger the better in this situation. Absolutely.
I think those other sections should be bigger, beyond 30 inches, not just for the residents only.
So I'll give them your number when the light reflects in their home at midnight.
That's okay. I'll be
Okay.
fine with that.
All
I
right.
get the pickleball lights, so it doesn't make any difference.
Fred?
Well, during this process, we had the safety people from Surprise come in, and they rode around with us on a golf cart and made these recommendations based on what they have in Surprise. They said we were very insufficient as far as stop signs and yields, and so it was recommended by the City of Surprise, even 30
So
years.
then, all we're trying to do then is to come up to standards within our area. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Do I have any questions from owners? The motion on the floor is to approve. Oh, Michelle, come on up.
Michelle Kavanaugh, lot 781. With regards to the signs, I know they're going to be larger here on Roy Rogers and Happy Trails. The signs are going to be larger. Are they going to be a standard height? Because again, today, as I was pulling in here into the Pack Center, we stopped at the stop sign right out here, but the person coming across the way never stopped and was making a left-hand turn in the car. So I don't know if they're too low or what the issue is, but people do not seem to stop. And I live, when you come out of Powderhorn, making that left, if you're on that main drag, they just think they can keep on going, regardless if they're on electric bikes, carts, or cars. And we have to nudge our way out to see around that corner. So I don't know what the height difference is, but we need to raise them so that they're in their eye view maybe. I don't know what the issue is, but big is not the only problem.
Thank you, Michelle.
All the signs will be placed at the same height at 6 foot at the bottom of the sign.
Any other owner questions? Okay, then we will call for the vote. The motion is to approve street signs and poles for Happy Trails Boulevard and Roy Rogers for an amount not to exceed $10,000 to be paid out of the general fund. Darlene will do a roll call vote.
Cindy Evans?
Yes.
Cliff Drew? Yes. Fred Rand?
Yes.
Chuck Garvey?
Yes.
Brad Midkiff?
Yes.
Greg Sherman?
Yes.
Jennifer Oswick?
Yes.
Motion passed. Thank you.
Cindy, you're up.
I move to approve owner's request for RV removal.
I second it.
All right, this is for lot number 1770, and lot 1770 is in the ranch. So I want to, now that I've made the motion, I want to amend the motion, or rescind the motion actually, because we don't have the authority to grant a variance in the ranch. The ranch is governed by a PAD, which is filed with the city when we develop the resort. So we don't have authority to do that. So I would like to amend the motion to rescind the motion.
I second it.
Any discussion among the board? This is really a non-discussion item. It is a no, it shouldn't have come before the board. Owners, please understand that we cannot grant a variance in the ranch. We do not have that authority. So let's vote to rescind this motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, I move to approve lot 1373's application for lot improvements.
I second it.
All right, lot 1373 wants to build a 912 square foot home. The challenge with this and why it's being appealed to the board is that there is a tag along, if you will, at the back of the home, the back of the RV lot, back of the RV port, that limits the length of the RV port. So they can get a shorter RV in. The RV port is not the maximum length of 45 feet. Questions?
Board discussion.
What's he requesting for the length then? So it's going from 45 to what?
I believe he wants a 30, I think it's a 30 foot, if I'm not mistaken. It's 38, I'm sorry, yes, 38 feet. So I'll give a little in-depth into this. So when it comes to the RV pads, our community, we have RV pads. As you look at your lot, if you're looking at your lot at the front of it, there's what we call the RV port side, which is the right side. And that's how we maintain the RV status. Now within our CCNRs, it speaks to you must have an RV or a park model or an Arizona room on the lot to reside in it. So we maintain that within our rules and regulations, the size of the RVs are 45 feet to 28 feet. So the way we've always enforced it is that the RV port must be accessible for a 45-foot RV at any given time in the case of a resale. You know, in Terry's case, if he was to resell, if we allowed this and he was to resell it and someone wanted to buy this lot, but they had a 45-foot RV, that would now not accommodate that size of RV. So we've always, enforced the RV ports to remain open and using the maximum size we have in our rules and regulations, which is 45 feet. Now we also have denied through the DRC office, someone was requesting that they switch the RV port side around and put the RV port side on the left, and that was denied because we also have language in our guidelines that speak to the design and the conformity of the original intent of the community. Now, as far as I know, we wanted to keep this as an RV resort and keep those RV spots open. Therefore, the 45 feet maximum is what we've always enforced and gone with. In this situation, like Cindy mentioned, he wants to put in a little tag unit that encroaches on that RV port side, But the result of that is only leaving a maximum of 38 feet for an RV. So that's where we're at, and that's why he's asking for the variance. Now, Terry's concern is that, you know, he has an RV that's less than 38 feet, so he could fit it in there no problem. But again, as management enforcement, it's in the case of a resale, because now we're preventing the sale if someone else has a bigger RV or a 45, you know, a 45 or even a 40-foot RV at this point. That permanent structure blocks that. So the language has always been nothing permanent on the RV port side besides the shade structure, the awning, that is allowed to be built over it. And that's the way it's been enforced. It's always been enforced. And again, you know, it's the combination of the rules and regulations, the CC&Rs, and the design guidelines that we use to enforce that.
I have a question for you, Bradley. I want to make sure I'm doing this right. How many of them have we just did not allow, if somebody came with a drawing that didn't have that 45 foot, how many of them did we reject if they had a different set of that port?
So at my time in the DRC, again, I've only been here 3 years, I have never allowed that. That was always been the rule. Now, there are some exceptions within the community where you have lots that are deeper. Averagely, the length of each lot is around 62.5 feet. You got 10-foot setback in the front, 5 in the rear, you take away 15, leaves you 47 feet. So that's not much for a stick built. Now, there are some lots that are 83 feet long. So there's a little bit more give where they can still build something back there, and then a 45-foot RV is accessible in that lot. So I know that there are some. Again, the time I've been here, we have not allowed anything permanent to be built on the RV port side.
And then question, because I'm looking at the drawing and it's, you know, this great big structure on one side and this little, what you call tag along. But what is this tag along? I mean, is it just something, I mean, I don't see what the purpose of it is in this part of it, but he's adding that part. I mean,
yes. So that lot right now, that's
the
just
tag along and this whole drawing is all
going to be built, correct?
So this is all brand new.
Correct.
Even that little tag, their little
Correct.
tag thing.
Correct.
So what's currently on there now? 'Cause I didn't drive
Is
by,
nothing.
is-
Just an RV, just an awning, just an
Just an
awning
awning.
shade structure. I believe Terry's got his fifth wheel on there right now, but beyond that, there is nothing on there. So
And
yes, that stick built or the structure you see there would all be completely new.
And has he, and I'm just going to be the devil advocate, has he checked with his neighbors to see if they're okay with this?
I'm not sure. It's
I
private
don't-
property.
That's
I mean,
okay.
how many
I'm just-
times?
I mean, when you're adding something different, I want to make sure that as part of the happy trails that they're okay with something sticking on closer to their property than they had planned.
Well, and again, that was another reason of why the denial came from us, because it doesn't conform with the original idea intent of the community.
I would just like to not necessarily further explain, but I think we have to be cautious as a board that if we do this once, we can't say no to the next person. And we have held the line in Bradley's 3 years that the RV port must remain the RV port. So at 45 feet. And I think we have to take into consideration, we wish to be an RV resort. And if we say one, we can say to another, and we start losing that RV resort status because we're giving up all of our RV ports. I have been told that there were variances granted in the past for this RV port, but we're a board that is trying very hard to do the right thing. As earlier today, we said we're going to take the hit, we're going to do the right thing. We are a board that is trying very hard to do the right thing, and regardless of what happened in the past, of variances allowed or whatever, I think we need to look to the future. If we do this for one, we will have to do it for the next one. My opinion, and we need to be thinking about that as we move forward on this vote. Do I have any questions from the owner?
I've got a question.
Sure, Brad. I'm sorry.
Bradley, in the rules and regulations and everything else, does it say specifically that you have to maintain a 45-foot access? Or is it vague to where it's 28 to 45?
Well, in the rules and regulations, it speaks to the size. So it maintains the maximum size that is allowed.
It says that you can put in a 28 or 45, up to 45 feet. It doesn't say that that spot has to stay at 45 feet only.
Correct.
But,
Yeah.
but what that says is that's the size of the RV. It's not the size of the port.
So what is our size of the port? Does it say that in the rules?
No, and again, and that's why we use all the documents together, because in our rules and regulations, the sizes are a maximum of 45 and a minimum of 28. So when you're talking about leaving an RV port open, you would go with the maximum size to give that opportunity for any potential new buyer.
But unfortunately, that is not the way it's read or spelled out, that you assume that it's 45 feet. Again, rules are interpretation. And the way I'm looking at it is that in order for us to continue on in the future, we need to make sure that we state that it has to stay 45 feet. And it's not up to the board, in my opinion, to worry about the owner losing money because you can't put a 40-footer in there. That's up to them.
Well, right, but I think what you're overlooking here is that you're allowing that, but then you're preventing the sale of changing the RV port side. So it's no longer going to be an open port where there's no question of the size of the RV you can get in. Because as of right now, it doesn't matter. I mean, as long as you're within the minimum, it doesn't matter if it's 30, there's no question about it. So you start putting permanent structures in there, and now you're limiting the sales, which is going to affect everybody's pocketbook. And then on the same side, the sales and the buying of it. So, I mean, I get what you're saying. I do believe.
I guess what the problem is, Bradley, is that we do not specifically state that. It's an opinion, and I'm not disagreeing with you at all. All I am saying is that we don't have that written in there to where it's specific that you have to maintain the 45 feet.
And I agree, but I believe we have the board here to do it. So, I mean, that is something the board can look at and work together to change, because in my opinion, that language does need to be in there. But at the moment, this is how we've enforced it. We all want it to be an RV community. We want those to remain as RV spots. So that's what we're doing.
Right. We could change the rule by saying 11 feet for the length of the lot. And then that does away with any adjustment, whether the lot's, 63 or 80 feet long. So if you just keep the port open 11 feet wide by the length of the lot, then that does away with the problem. But right now, he could have a 24-foot trailer in there. And I believe that this is a permanent home for them.
Correct.
This is not something that they're planning on building and selling.
Right. Well, but not now, but it's always the question that we have to remember as management is in the efforts of a resale. We get it for you at this moment in this period of time, but we're also looking down the road. And if we're looking down the road and we want this to be maintained as RV ports, this is what that looks like.
He's followed the rules with the only covering 30% of the lot. So he is within rules or regulations. He's just got a bump out that's just kind of extending out there.
Correct. And then again, within our DRC guidelines, there's exhibits that show where the RV port site is. Now, along with the city's, setbacks, that gives you the length of the lot. It's not like we're creating these lengths, on the whim. Those setbacks are set by the city, and then from there, we want to maintain an RV spot. We went by the maximum. But you're right.
So,
I believe that there needs to be language changed in, that address.
So now I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. So can we put in our verbiage to if this is approved, that if he in fact decides to sell, he has to remove that area?
It's private property. Once it's built, we can't. I mean, you're at a head right now. I mean, you let them have it. You can't force. Since it's been approved, you can't force the removal of it.
That would be his responsibility to worry about. he would have to be the one to find somebody that wants to buy it. the
Not
way
if
it
we,
is.
not if we approve it. Not if it's approved by this board. They cannot, the board cannot approve something and then turn around when a new buyer comes in and goes, now you must remove that. No.
You're misunderstanding what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's up to the owner to worry about selling it. And he's gonna have to make it known in his paperwork that it's now a restriction. You can't get a 45-foot in here. So if you want to move one in here, it's got to be 38 feet or less.
I mean, you're right, but that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's
But we should change the verbiage then on our document to say, now it's got to remain there. He's gotten in there, he's gotten his plans all drawn up already because he looked at what we had, and according to that, it was okay. Now we're saying, bag your plans because we don't like that. I'm just saying, if it was me, I would fight for it, and I've heard him say that he's willing to go to court. We don't want to do that.
Well, no one wants to go to court, but again, I mean,
But I think
we're
lose
only
in court.
enforcing what the rules and the documents and what we're asked to do, which is
Yeah.
maintain the RV port side.
Right.
And that's all we're trying to do. So if, the community doesn't want it to be 45 feet, then so be it. But at the same time, I'm not going to be the one saying I'm allowing this when the whole standard the whole time has been maximum of 45 feet.
Yeah.
That's
But
been the standard.
it's your standard though.
No.
It's in the rules and regulations on maximum side, but I mean, yeah, we can call it my standard, but it's the standard we've all been going by and agree with.
So as I'm listening, before I say anything else, do we have any comments from owners?
Yeah, I believe Terry's online. And
let's-
Terry's the one requesting the variance.
Okay,
Yeah, if
go
we could,
ahead,
Jack.
online.
Okay, I see that I'm back online to speak. I understand what all you folks are saying, but I can only go by what I have received from the DRC and Happy Trails and all my paperwork. I do own 3 lots in here. And by the way, as of now, there is no RV on that lot. It's just a renter on that lot. And I used a architect, which is done business in Happy Trails. He's put together the property that we wanted, and we've basically just said that we've gone through every bit of paperwork, and there's nothing definitive that says we cannot do what we are doing. We are keeping our RV port. All right, we're using RV port, and basically it says a recreational vehicle not less than 24 feet, but no more than 45 feet in length. So it has been passed down over time through Happy Trails that you have to have 45 feet allowed in there, but nowhere in our documentation whatsoever can I find anything that says you must be able to put a 45-foot RV there. The pictures that I sent you folks are, everything has been done with an architect, like I said, that works in there. I don't feel I'm doing anything exceptional. And as you go through all our things, I've packed out, I've had a packet put together for the board, and they can read through these things. Brad has supplied me 4 situations that I've researched, and none of those situations has admonished me from doing it. So that's where we are right now. I do understand what you're talking about. It would be on me. It's as if somebody came to your lot and said, well, I have 3 cars and you don't have room for 3 cars. So what am I about to do? Well, I guess you can't buy my lot. If you come to my home and you bring in a 45-foot RV, I don't think it's on the HOA to say you let this guy do something wrong. It would be the owner or the prospective buyer that would say, well, I cannot put my RV in here. He would not be a purchaser then. If he wants 2 bedrooms and I only have 1, he would not be a purchaser. So I don't believe that the analogy of that has any validity at this time. If you would like more explanation where I'm coming from, I'm more than, be more than happy to give it to you. And that's where we are at an impasse right now. And that's why I appealed to the board. I've had one person at the DRC meeting that did not have a problem with it. And that's why it was, passed on to you folks. I own 3 lots. I have a lot of money invested in that lot that I'd like to build there and live there forever. So that's where we are. And there's a lot of mays, you may do this and you may do that in our policies. And there's no musts. And that's where I'm coming from at this time. And I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you. Thank you. Next.
Hi, I'm Jack Beshin from Lot 900. Something else you're not considering here, which is on those blueprints. You're not considering the width. In the carport, there is a porch that extends out into that area. Now, if you're going to put a 45 in there, you have to have a width of 108 inches. Now, I agree that the rules need to be clarified, and it should be made to 108 inches wide, because anything over a 35-foot motorhome is 108 inches if it's going to be on the highway. And right now, you have a porch that sticks out into that area. And this also is not just a shed. This is an additional bedroom.
No, it is a casita.
I'm walking.
Okay, Jack.
Anyway,
Continue.
if you need to clarify 45 feet, then that's the thing to do. But if you keep making variations for these things, you're going to lose your tax base for a resort. And if you think that's not going to be interesting, keep going. We've had too many problems around here before Brad got here, where too many variations from 2 boards ago have let these things slide. And you just keep getting more lots that do not fit an RV resort. Now, somebody went down to the city of Surprise, somebody from inside the resort, and shook their cage about this variation they wanted in the ranch. Now, I know that the city of Surprise was not happy with that. And they're going to resurvey the entire ranch.
Okay, off subject, stay on point. Stay on point.
You're going to get variations. And if you don't hold the line, you're going to get yourself in a real pickle. Because too many lots are being turned down for RV resorts.
Thank you, Jack.
I have no plans on doing such. It will remain an RV port.
Yvette Hollis, Lot 353. I have an Arizona room, stick-built home with an RV port. As Brad knows, I cannot put anything permanent on that 45-foot RV lot. It has to maintain an RV status. No outdoor kitchen permanent, nothing like that. I remember when I first moved here in 2015, somebody put a snuggle wide on an RV lot. Somebody convinced the board it's okay. So our RV status is gone down the tubes now, and pretty soon this is going to be a trailer court because we're going to lose that. I don't have anything against the gentleman that's trying to do this. I just don't think that this is the right place to do that.
Thank you.
It already exists in many situations. At this moment, I do not want to start presenting particular situations throughout the park. I'm here
Terry?
in my case. I'm here pleading my case.
Okay, can you wait a minute then, please? We have another speaker here.
Yes, ma'am.
712-996. This is the difficult part for all of you. First, I personally don't feel it should even been brought here, and it's nothing against Terry. You talked about his plans. I'm going to talk fast. But unfortunately, he should have come to the DRC first before he started with an architectural layout and spending any money to make sure that this was viable. I did a proof of concept, got approval from the DRC. That would have been the first suggestion. Correct me if I'm wrong, Brad. There is something in our documents that says no permanent structures on the RV port. Is that correct?
I don't believe there's language in there about permanent structures.
Okay, well, we can't put sheds.
Correct.
Or we can only use portable sheds.
Correct.
Okay, same. The problem with the 28 or 24 to 45 foot situation, unfortunately, is that what we don't think of right now, if you allow this to happen, is the next individual builds a stick-built. Well, what's the rule on stick-built in RVs? The length can actually be 18 feet if they have a livable habitat. So now you end up with a stick-built that's taking over part of your RV port. You got an 18-foot RV, and now you've really regulated and limited the prospect. It's not just about the individual now, it's about the future, tomorrow, the next day. And once you open this up, it is a can of worms that will take off, and I guarantee you, we will lose our RV status. The RV ports, right now, what we do is reversible. If you don't want an RV on your lot, you can request to have the RV removed off your RV port. But when you sell your property, it flips back to having to have an RV on that port unless that new owner comes in and requests the same waiver. That's different. We all know about the yellow house because I was looking at it. My unit at 40 feet wouldn't fit to it because the bedroom was back behind it on the RV port, didn't give me 10 feet off of the frontage. That individual that bought it tried to get their RV put over on the right side, or the left side, I'm sorry. We didn't allow it because it changed the structure of our association. I'm sorry, but you're opening up a really bad situation here. RV port, no hard structures, and there you go. Sorry about the others that were already done. That was done through favoritism and good old boy systems years ago.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Swap the policies.
I'm just going by what I was given by the DRC. I noticed somebody said something to the effect that I should have gone through the DRC first and had it approved. I came to the DRC. I had sat down with Deanne on multiple occasions. I received everything that I was told I needed to get this going. I applied. I went with a architect that works in here. He's actually building 3 other units within the community at this time. And I was never told anything by him that I was doing anything wrong because according to him, everything was okay.
The policy
says, you know, the policy goes back to the information I have received. And the information I have received does not say anything about I cannot do what I am trying to do. The 30% is the home, the other 120 square feet, of which 64 square feet is sitting in the RV port, is part of the casita. So that's where we are at this moment. And I'm not removing my RV port. My 35-foot fifth wheel will fit in there, and my 39-foot fifth wheel will fit in there. I mean, I don't have a 39-foot, but I'm not changing anything. And I understand it has been done before. I'm not looking to go that direction like he did it, so I want to do it. I'm just going by what I was given to build this. And I feel as though I'm doing nothing incorrect. I don't think you folks have a problem down the road. If you would like to change the verbiage, I can understand that, but this is where we are at this moment. I own 3 lots in here. I plan on staying here.
It does not say you must.
And
Thank you.
that's where we are.
Mickey Aston, Lot 13. My lot has a 10-foot setback from the street. I have a 5-foot setback on the easement in the back. I have an RV. It is a park model, and I have a 12-foot room behind it. It used to be a 30-foot fifth wheel. It's now a 36-foot park model. That park model could be removed.
and an RV could be put in there, but only a 36-foot. The house next to me on 14 has a laundry room built behind their park model, and 15 has a shed in their RV port area, and it may be longer. Someone brought up, my phone went silent. Someone brought up the RV port removal, where you can get permission to remove an RV and not have an RV in that space. You do allow, according to number 6, outside kitchen facilities. And to me, that would be a slab, plumbing, electrical, something pretty permanent, outdoor cooking facilities.
We allow the outdoor cooking facilities, but again, not on the RV port side.
No, it is on the RV port side.
Not
On
that
number
not,
6,
Not that I've approved.
okay, it's in the form. It's in your RV port form. It's a 2-page document. So it does allow outside kitchen facilities. It allows Rubbermaid storage sheds, jacuzzis, patio furniture. An outside kitchen facility to me could be something pretty permanent that would need to be removed if somebody wanted to put an RV back in that spot. So I'm just saying, I am not here to talk about RV port removal, and I don't believe the homeowner is. I think that the design review committee needs to tighten up that document if you're not going to follow what's written, 24 to 45. And if it could still maintain a 24-foot RV, I think it's still within your guidelines on the DRC document.
May I just say something, please?
Okay.
Yeah. First off, when it is not a bedroom, it is never planning on being a bedroom. It is actually my storage area or casita where my washer and dryer would go, which most people have turned their casitas into washers and dryers, washer and dryer areas. And the guidelines for width is 11 feet. Minimum is 11 feet between poles, of which I have no problem. So that is one guideline that we've kept because I want to put my RV in there. So I will have 11 feet between the poles and not encumber on my neighbor nor my home. That was checked into. I would never want to build something that would not work. So that is not a problem as to spacing when it comes to width.
Thank you, Terry. Okay. Did I hear someone? Okay. I would like to say that we are sitting here as a board at 2.5 hours of a day that we have faced many difficult decisions. And we are now looking at this, and it is a conundrum. History in Brad's 3 years says that we have not allowed anything permanent in an RV port. We have indication that prior things have been done that have allowed permanent structures in RV ports. So we are sitting here faced with 2 things. Number 1, we do not have anything definitive in our documents that says the RV port must be 45 feet long. However, at least 3 years of history says that we keep 45 feet and we do not allow permanent structures. So whatever decision the board makes on allowing Terry to have or not have, this board must task ourselves with tightening up the DRC guidelines so that we are not sitting here in this conundrum again. Because if we say yes to Terry, we do not fix, then we will be sitting here again in the same situation. And ultimately, I believe that everyone who lives in Happy Trails or visits Happy Trails or rents in Happy Trails wishes to see Happy Trails as an RV resort. So that's where we are. And the motion, I am going to call for the vote. The motion is to approve the owner's application for lot improvements. All in favor?
Aye.
Brad?
Aye.
Not in favor? Motion passed 4-3. Thank you all.
Thank you very much for your consideration.
Hang on, everybody. We have a couple more agenda items, if you will. We do. We have your report in mind. Okay. First of all, almost good evening, but good afternoon, everyone. And I want to thank you all for coming. Those of you who came virtually and those of you who have attended in person. I want to thank the directors. I want to thank the directors, especially Brad and Chuck, who are brand new to the board, for working together to plan a thoughtful board meeting agenda that handles the business of Happy Trails Community Association. So thank you all board members, and special thanks to Brad and Chuck. We are a board committed to bringing our community together and to doing what is best for Happy Trails. Let us all put the past where it belongs, behind us. Let's keep our eyes on the future and move forward together. Thank you all. Jack, please sit down. Jack, please sit down. No, we're not done. Thank you. Thank you.